Howdy, everyone. Let me ask you a question. What would you do if somebody came to you and asked you, hey, you do this one thing, you're going to 50 times your money. You're going to have 50 times the amount that it's in your bank account right now, tomorrow morning when you open that app. Would you do it? But first and foremost, let me introduce myself. I am Matt the PT, and I'm coming at you with another video on another topic that is affecting us in the physical therapy world. I'd also like to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the discussions. I find that this is very healthy and very, very informative. Now, the thing I want to talk about today is something I've been seeing over the past few years, and you've maybe been experiencing as well, if you spent any time on social media, and that is the finance influencers, or finfluencers as they are called. If you spend, again, like I said, you get on Instagram or Facebook, you're going to see these people coming at you, talking to you about, hey, this is how you can invest your money, or no, you need to do this to get out of the rat race. Oh, I did this and I'm financially free and I'm taking vacations every 3 days or whatnot. And I see that stuff and I find it's just a very, very interesting thing. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about my background. One, my undergraduate is in business. I don't know if I've told anybody that here lately, but my undergrad is in business, so I spent a lot of time doing finance classes. I've also had a very big interest in finance and business and things like that. I also happen to be married to someone who has, of course, a finance degree and an accounting degree, and I will say has kept me quite grounded in many of those things that deal with money. With that being said, what I see with these influencers now is that that's a big business for them, that they're coming out, that they're throwing this, advice and this training and stuff like that. And it seems like many of them are just, they don't really have degrees or certifications or any licensure in it. They're just throwing this stuff out and they're selling this crazy, crazy dream about being financially free and taking vacations and doing all this stuff. But when you dig down into it, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. And it doesn't benefit us, the consumer of it. It just benefits the person selling the thing. And there have been cases of them getting busted over selling, of being grifters and scammers on that. Now, I do find, I will say this, us as physical therapists, physical therapist assistants, and the people in healthcare, we seem to be pretty good targets for them. And the reason why I do believe that is we're often very heavily in debt. So think about this. We want to, as a job, have something where we help people. We may be experienced to physical therapy in some form or fashion, either with ourselves or a family member, something like that. And we say, wow, this is something I really, really want to do. So we do the undergraduate and we do the grad school, we graduate and we go out and we're going to start this career. But one, the undergraduate degree came with quite a financial cost. And two, that graduate school, that PT school, came with an even bigger cost. I believe on average, last time I looked, the average physical therapist coming out of school is $150,000 in debt. Now, that's also been a thing about going into being a PTA because it's a little bit less, but we're just going to talk about that student loan debt. But also think about this. When you come out of school, you want to start your life. You want to start that life. You want to have your own house. You want to have a nice, reliable car on it, a vehicle. Think about people, again, this is a goofy thing. They think we are going to, have to have the most expensive car. People want a reliable car. All right. You want to have a vehicle that when you get in it, it's going to crank every single time. It's going to get you from point A to point B safely, that it's not going to break down. That's what you want out of a vehicle. You want to enjoy your life. You want to take vacations. You would like to, go out and have experiences. You want to eat well. You want to be able to wear nice clothes. You want to do those things. But very often You're coming in, you're assuming a lot of debt for not only the student loan debt, but also debt for buying a house, debt for buying a car. You may be having credit cards, things like that. And so we become these perfect targets because we have this massive amount of debt. And then we look at these other things of like the average salary, I believe, is around $85,000. This is the last time I looked, it was around $85,000. It's probably changed. $85,000. And again, that's the money coming in. And we want to, again, have those nice things in our life, to be comfortable, to enjoy life. And when we get stuck, we have to work so hard to have such little stuff. We work so hard. And so these finfluencers, as they're called, financial influencers, sell this dream. Oh, you can be financially free. You can do all that. You can have all this stuff paid for. And it's like, oh my gosh, that makes so much. I could do that stuff and have this income coming in. I could pay off all my loan debt. I could have the nice car. I could go on the vacations. I could do all of these things on it, and people will buy in. And some of the things, like I said, I've really looked into it, are very questionable on it. So one thing I like to do is I do like to think about this of like what we do as professionals on that. We are rehab professionals, medical professionals. We know how to do rehab, and that could be orthopedics. That could be a subset of orthopedics, neurology, vestibular, pediatrics, geriatrics, sports, aquatic, all of that. We have a high level of knowledge and skill in what we do. Well, when I start looking at some of these finance people, that's who I actually try to look at. People who have a high level and skill. And an interesting thing, if you really, really listen to them, they talk like us. It's a little different, but they discuss things like us. So when I see people talking about, like trading, when you get into like day trading or options trading and all this kind of, stuff like that, and you start listening to them, it sounds like those people that sell, those like the one trick that they don't want you to know. They sound like them, where there's like a definite way to do this. And this is great. And they don't take in the variables of things like we do. When somebody comes to you to say, what do I got to do because my back hurts? What do I need to do? Well, we know I just can't tell you to do one thing because there's a lot of variables that go into it. What's like, your activity level, like what kind of pain is it? What is it, constant or intermittent? What affects the pain? Describing it, then like social determinants of health and all these other, there's a lot that goes into it. I just can't give you one little thing because there's so many variables. And really, if you listen to finance people that really, really get into that stuff, they're going to talk about those little variables. They're going to talk about those little things about it that it's like, well, we got this and you got to think about this. And, but the influencers more just kind of come in and they just, this is how you do it. And if we really looked at it through like our lens, it would be completely different. It would. It would just be like, no. We're going to listen to the person that makes this sense on it. And additionally is like licensed and like, has certifications and stuff in it. And it's not just somebody just kind of spouting things. Really, when it comes down to this finance stuff, there are a few things. And I've talked to some financial people about it, and they gave me a few things to really, really keep in mind with finances on it. Again, I am not a finance person. I am a physical therapist, and I do a daggum well job of taking care of patients and helping people with the pains and things that they have. Do not ask me for financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I am just a vessel of passing along information. One thing that they did tell me is that, again, we can use this. Be very, very good to know. Know where your money is going. Know what money is coming in, what money is going out. That they said that is huge. Know what is going on. And it's surprising the number of people who don't. They just know, I just get a paycheck that comes in and I just pay all the bills, and there's just whatever I got at the end of the month is what I got. But if you really get down into it, you can understand where all your money's going and see like, hey, I'm spending an excessive amount here, or there's something here, and you can really change that. And that leads to something else. Being aware of lifestyle creep. That is a big thing. I know if you don't know what that is, and I believe this is kind of what happens with us as physical therapists, but it's that somebody gets used to living a lifestyle like this. Well, then they get a raise. Maybe they get married, or they have also get 2 incomes or something, and they have more money coming in. So what do? They raise their lifestyle, and they're still in debt. So, you get that big raise, a new job, you get the big raise. So, well, I'm going to buy a nicer car. I'm going to buy a bigger house. I'm going to, go with, bigger vacations, more vacations, things like that. I'm just using those for examples. And so they're kind of in the same boat, that they're making more money, but they're expending, they have larger expenses. And that's something that people fall for. And I think that's kind of a little bit of what we do as therapists. But again, I will say, everybody wants to have, comfort in their life. They want to enjoy life. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing whatsoever of having the house that you want, the car that you want, to do the things that you want. There's nothing wrong with that. But understanding that just because that you start getting more income, that you don't increase that getting into that lifestyle creep, so that you're keeping your expenses at a relatively as low as possible level that makes sense for what you're doing. Also, it's important to set aside money for expenses that you know are coming. This is something that they tell me that people just don't think about. And it's not quite investing. We'll talk about that in a second. But set aside money for things that you know coming up. Use, for example, Christmas. Christmas is the same day every single year. And they said if you set aside a little bit of money from every paycheck into a Christmas fund, then you're able to buy gifts. Or setting money aside for, again, car repairs, house repairs. Okay, this is our vacation fund, or this is something. They said things like, birthdays, or that's not an emergency. You don't need an emergency fund. You just put the money aside for it. That you're setting it there, and it's earmarked for that need, and that can really, really help you. Additionally, with like investing, again, I cannot give investing advice, but utilizing your retirement accounts. A lot of companies have 401ks now, and those, again, the finfluencers go nuts over those things, that 401ks are like the worst thing to do. You're just throwing money away or whatnot. It's really not a big deal. A lot of financial advisors will tell you, put money in that. Put money in your 401k. Your often your employer will match to a certain amount or whatnot, and that can be a nice little thing as you get older. People, and I will say this is another fault that people have with like investing, that they don't understand investing very well. And that's something I see what like the influencers do, is that they kind of mislead people in it. Like I had somebody tell me once, they were like, yeah, I think I'm going to talk to this person and we can work out to get, have like $1,000 a month coming in from investments, and now it's going to help me pay for a new apartment and then getting a car. And I said, how much money are you going to invest in it? And this person only had like $2,000 or $3,000. I'm like, that's not how investing works. You're not going to get, if you're putting $2,000 in, a 50% return every month. No, that's not how it works. It doesn't work like that. Investing is for the long term on that. And I think people really fail to fully understand that. And going on there, finding a good financial advisor or planner, finding someone you trust. Take the time to research and to find somebody that you really trust. It's good to find one that is a fiduciary, because they have your best interest in mind on that. So again, I can't get all into that stuff, but finding someone that would help you with your finances, it's kind of like what we do, what we tell patients. Can we do everything for patients? No, I don't want to be a patient's everything. I want to be your physical therapist on that. So I don't expect you to be, I am not your cardiologist. I'm not your endocrinologist. I'm not all that. Hey, you have a backache, you got back pain, you had a surgery. Yeah, come to me. I want to help you with that. You want to start losing weight and get in shape. Yeah, I can help you with that too. But I understand, like, no, there's other people that you have. And I think that's very important that you have these key people in your life who are experts who know what to do. And lastly, this is so big, and I really think that we really, really need to keep this in mind, and people falter for it a lot, is that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And if you look at any of these like scams or anything that get brought up, I like watching those and reading about those. It's just so interesting. Is that some person was coming forward and saying, "Oh, you can get a 20% daily return with this, and if you do all that," it's like that's not possible on it. Like that's not real, and people fell for it. They fell for it to say, "Oh, it sounded too good to be true," and they gave their money and it ended up losing all this money on it. And really, again, and I would say that same thing applies to us in healthcare. If somebody's going to come in and say, you see those things, oh, just do this one simple stretch, it's going to relieve all of your pain forever. That sounds too good to be true, and we know that it's not true. And we would tell people, that's not really true on it. And we want you to get better. We're going to do the legitimate things to help you on it. So keep those things in mind. So that's something I've been seeing. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions on it. Comment that down below. Have you dealt with them? Do you have a financial advisor? Do you have people that you recommend? Things like that. Be interesting to talk about it. To bring this up on there. So thank you so much. Consider, if you like the video, hitting that thumbs up button. It means a whole lot when you do that. Subscribe to the channel. And of course, take care of yourselves. Take care of your patients. And I will see you next time.